So, good afternoon, all. Thank you for taking your time and attending this series of webinars we are conducting every Saturday. So, today our topic is PMU, Phasor Measurement Unit, and I'm going to take you to the various methods of phasor measurements and also introduce our phasor measurement unit, Visimax PMU, and some credentials I'm going to show it. So before going into the exactly the PMU subject, I will introduce what exactly the PMU and what are the difference between what we are using the SCADA and the wide area measurement unit. So those all are topics we are going to cover in this session. Thank you very much for attending this once again, and let's start the presentation. I hope you can see my screen, and please, if any questions related to this particular topic, you can chat in your chat box. You can just type in your chat box. I can see your questions so that I can answer at appropriate time or end of the presentation. We will have a question answer session there. I'll take one by one questions and I will try to answer your questions. Okay, so comes to the initial period of our power systems. What happens? We started day by day. We are increasing our networks, and the demands are more, and the generation capacity we need to increase, and the transmission accordingly. Transmission networks also going to increase exponentially every year. So this is very difficult for the person who is monitoring the system. Like what we are doing right now, we are monitoring at the substation level. We are not monitoring as a complete bird view. Jaisa hamara network is not being monitored. So what happens when there is a problem at the substation level? At that particular point, our relays are going to act, and they disconnect the particular feeder, the faulty feeder, so that at least that particular portion of the fault is being disconnected from the system. But what happens when it comes to this complicated network? So we are any small issue happen at the network level or a substation level, or anything which is not properly worked out, like relays are not properly tripped at particular time, then what happens? People, there are a lot of disturbances in the network, and that may leads to a complete cascading of the trippings. So that is what it is happened in 2012. Our India may blackout hua tha. So all these northeast and eastern regions went black, completely dark. So this is mainly to understand the system, and acting on the system immediately is very important to avoid such type of things. So that is what the wide area network and using the PMU's phasor measurements units is nowadays getting the importance and in the power system network. So these all are the different challenges we are facing in the power systems, like vast transmission expansion and its operations. So we have a very large country having every day at least many new networks are coming, many new feeders are adding to the substation. So it's a very vast transmission, and it's fastly expanding, and we are controlling the system from the local area as well as the control centers or LDCs or NRLDCs. So this is what we are doing right now, and integration of large scale, intermittent and variable renewable generation into the grid. So this is very important, where when you add renewable energy into the network, it is very difficult to manage those renewable energies, their frequency predictions. So it is very important to monitor continuously those new networks added into the grid system. So that is also day by day increasing. So, and government is also planning for the mostly the solar and wind energies and reducing the carbon footprints, so that reducing the depending on thermal energy. So this is again a challenging for the network and grid operators. And the steady state view of the transmission network, and even no phase angle measurement in real time. Now what we are doing here is we are collecting the data from the each and every substation and monitoring each and every substation from the SCADA. So, but what happens, this is mainly to monitor, and after the any problem comes, this is mainly used for the postmortem of the failures, or postmortem of the grid failures, or any other issues. So it is not being real time monitoring and taking the decisions. So SCADA is not used for that, because you require a lot of very accurate data with precise timing. These are required at the SCADA level. But in SCADA, what we are doing, we are taking, and those all are delayed data which we are getting, and we are monitoring those things. And present high latency, like we have very low bandwidth when we want to send some data to the control center or remotely. So we are also facing a problem of network, because you cannot send the continuous data, very accurate data within no time. That is not possible at this particular moment. Those all are the difficulties we are facing and challenges we are facing in the network in today's scenario. So with this one, what Government of India after the blackout seriously thinking about, okay, to implement the wide area monitoring system, or earlier also they were thinking, but it is after this 2012, it is a compulsory for all the network operators, grid operators, to understand the actual bird view of the network. So that is what Government of India, various organizations started implementing the wide area network. That is where we used to measure the direct phase angle and also the magnitude of the angle using the GPS global signal, GPS synchronization. These all are the very important in the VAMS network. One is that phasor measurement unit. Second is the GPS signal. Third one is you may be having a one at the SCADA center. You have a SCADA like that. You should have one PDC, phasor measurement data center. So where all these phases data is collected and for the future analysis purpose. This is what VAMS technology is coming up. Under this VAMS technology, we are using mainly the PMU. So how it is used, like you can see here the presentation. The VAMS technology is normally what happens, you have to install a PMU at each and every substation, even each and every feeder, which will collect the data of that particular feeder, phasor data and amplitude of that particular feeder, and send it to the control center or PDC through C37.118 protocol. So this is a very, very highest latency and very fast, accurate protocol where you can send the data with a low, very less delay time to the PDC. So this is what we have already discussed. Like in phasor measurement, we measures the voltage, current with the phase angles and the frequency also, and rate of change of frequency, RECOF. This is called RECOF. This is mainly used when you are dealing with the PMU or wide area network. This RECOF is very important when you choosing your device or PMU. And data reported different samples per second. This is also very important. Right now, what we are doing, we are collecting the data with some frames, some certain frames like 60 frames per second. But it is very important what frame rate you are going to collect the data and store it in the PDC, and after that, after some time or with the data, how you are going to use that data for the analytical purpose. So these all are the very important at the PMU level. And phasor data concentrator, what it is exactly it does is a function that collects the phasor data and with the different PMUs from the different PMUs. Also possibly from the other PDCs, like you can even interconnect with one PDC to other PDC and connect with them both, and it will take the data from the other PDC and stores it and transmit data to the other applications. This is what the phasor data concentrator, what we call precisely the PDC. Like earlier we were using now we are using the SCADA. How the SCADA works, that's the same function. Phasor data PDC also works in the MANS technology. This is what the what we have implemented in India. The Power Grid has taken the initiatives. Your TDSM system. This is the architecture where you can see here the down the line PMUs are giving the data to the PDC through the optical fiber, because optical fiber is very important in this case, because with the earlier what we are doing, we are sending the data to SCADA centers on 101. There's the whole protocol, and now we are mostly sending the data to 104 protocol. But with that 104 protocol also, people are using different methods to send the data, like by GPRS or by optical fiber. Somebody is using VSATs. But in this case, when it comes to the PMU and PDC advanced technology, you require very high-speed communication link between the substation to the PDC center. That's very important here. So mostly, most of the substations or most of the electricity boards are opting for the optical fiber, which will connected with each and every substation. So this is the optical fiber bandwidth is very important for sending the PMU data to PDC center. Okay. Then this is what exactly the PMU. Okay, there is one question from Ponnuswamy, Mr. Ponnuswamy. Do we need phasor data concentrator at substation level where we have to export lines? Okay, because every substation required the phasor measurement. Phasor data concentrators are not required in every substation level. Like in control center, where you can put the phasor PDC, that is called PDC, and at each and every substation level, you install the PMU that will collect the data from the that particular feeder and send it to PDC, which is placed at the control center or any other centers. Okay, so now I think Sanket, screen is visible. Because somebody is saying screen is not visible. Is it visible? Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Fine. So, what is a PMU? PMU is mainly it's calculate the phases, voltage, amplitude, and send the data to the control center or a PDC, and it's mainly requires, you can see here, the GPRS is very important here. So every PMU should sync with the GPRS signal, and that is on PPP signal or NTP signal or IEEE wala 1538 network based NTP signal. So that is very important. PMU should have that, and PMU should also have digital outputs, digital inputs, and three-phase current and voltage inputs. So what it will do, it takes the CTPT inputs and send those data to PDC on C37.118. That is the protocol which is used for sending the PMU data to the PDC. So what PDC exactly do? It receives the data from multiple PMUs and aligns the time and generates the output streams. Also, it receives the data from other PDCs, that it is interface between the two different PDCs also it is possible, and provides the diagnostics and status information, handles the data from redundant PMUs. So PDC is mostly collecting the data from the different PMUs. What it will do, and further, different customers opt for the different analysis purpose, like using that PDC data. He may be putting a one application software on that PDC, asking that, okay, what is the state estimation, what is that variation of the voltage, variation of the frequency over the time. Those are the analytical modules which can be put it on the PDC, so that using the PDC data or database, they can use those can be used for the analytical purpose. So further, in India, normally right now we have collecting the data and storing the PDC, and a very few minute level people are using those collected data for the analysis purpose. But the process is going to be a different. The aim of the VAMs is a different purpose. That's what we are going to explain in the coming slides. And this is what the IEEE standards, which will define how to send this PMU data to PDC. So this particular protocol is called C37.118. There are many editions like 2005, 11, now 14 and 19 also coming up. So different editions having different advantage or addition of the futuristic applications in these things. But mostly thing is that whatever you are purchasing the PMU or any other VAMs, wide area network you are implementing, you need to focus mainly on the PMU should supports the older version as well as the newer version of the C37.118. So mostly 2011 and 2014 is mostly people are using those additions and giving them. But in future, 2019 and further additions also coming. This normally defines the measurement performance standards and messaging format. It's a protocol simply, and includes the header frame and configuration frames, data frames, command frames, cover both PMU and PDC streams, and describe the measurement and production classes. Like when you're sending the data, it will also describe that the data is from the protection class city or meter class city. Those all are so. There is a differentiative between these two classes, which when PMU is sending the data to PDC. So I was also earlier telling that what is the difference? What offline applications and what online applications we are doing. Offline application is something like a SCADA. Like one is the data validation, post disturbance analysis. Like after when we are using the SCADA, what happens? You take the data continuously stores in your database, and whenever there is a problem, what you need to do, you have to take the stored data and do the post disturbance analysis, like what exactly happened and how it has happened, where this particular problem is initiated, how it ends, and what are the different alarms or events happen during this disturbance. Those things are mainly analysis purpose. So you don't take the real-time decisions on this particular offline applications. And data mining, like search for the past events and provide the parameters. And event analysis and known past events. Event analysis also based on the past events you're going to do with the offline data. And typically not time sensitive. It's not very time sensitive. You have to be in sync with the GPS. But what happens? Most of the people, when they are taking the data, collecting the data, they put it 1 minute, 2 minutes interval. So it is not very time sensitive. So because all these are offline measurements, when you are increasing the time interval, so you may miss some events in between those time interval, but it is not going to affect more on your system and other things. Okay. So when it comes to the online application like VAMs, these all are real-time monitoring and control systems. So when it comes to a real-time monitoring and control system, there is very important point is the time sensitivity and time synchronization. Various applications are different. The PMUs also should sync with the same time, so that you will have a real-time analysis, or you will have a real-time data which is coming to your PDC. And state estimation, like what you need to do, you can real-time, you can estimate the state. State estimation means how much power is coming, what is the demand, what is the generation capacity, what you require, whether you require power or you don't require the power. Those all are depending on your generation capacity as well as the demand things. And it will also give you that whether you are going to increase your generation capacity or you are going to take some unwanted feeders shutdown, so that your network is having a balanced system. So these all are the real time they gives on online applications. Use real time and operation and dispatch can be respondent. It's a complete real time. The operator or the software will immediately respond on the events. Immediately it will disconnect if any disturbances happen on network. So it will see that where the exactly disturbance happening, which network is happening, which feeder is giving this disturbance to the system. So it will disconnect for that particular time being with the real time. So these all are the online applications advantages. And visualizations, oscillations, and angle frequency monitoring, these all are the possible. And voltage stability monitoring, power system restoration, and IPP application or integration of the IPPs or CPPs. So these all are the real-time applications. You have the advantages. So when it comes to PMU applications, I was telling you that what we are doing right now with the PMU and what is actually the purpose of using the PMU for the network or the grid system. So right now you can see at the left side, you see that the application what today we are using, like wide area monitoring system is only using for visualization, frequency and voltage monitoring, and oscillation detection. These are the main purpose right now we are using. We are just collecting the data and storing in that. So we are not actually using the actual purpose of wide area network, because there are many adults are there, many difficulties are there, and it is an initial stage we are implementing in the wide area network. So at this particular moment, we are only just collecting the data, and some small portion of the data we are using for the analysis purpose. That's it. But when it comes to a future, like you see that the graph, when you see that future, what is exactly going to do with this PMU, like event detection, alarm in the way forward, operator decision support, like operator who are monitoring the system, he can take the decision based on the real-time data. So that is what it's going to come. And automatic wide area control, like it's a software, like people are using the automatic or semi-automatic or a manual system, where system will prompt you that, okay, these are the complete networks problems, and these are the actions you need to take it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one is that in automatic system will take control of this system, and it will disconnect the problematic feeders from the system. Our second semi-automatic thing is that it will tell you and guide you that these are the steps or decisions you need to take based on these particular network issues. So operator or engineer can read those decisions, and he will interpret his own way, and he can take the decision based on the system's prompt. Third one is the manual systems, like whatever you see on the system, whatever you observe on the system, based on those information, you can manually take the control of the system. Those all are the advantage you are going to have in the real-time systems and in the future system. So total functionality is finally what we are going to do with the wide area network is system protection. and increase in operating transfer capability, like seamlessly you transferring one feeder to another feeder and changing the power to one system to another grid. These all are seamlessly, it is going to happen with using this PDC data. And renewable integration also is possible. So it's seamlessly you can integrate the renewable energies, because that is very important, where you have a frequency issues, you have a system stability issues when you are connecting the renewable energy to the grid. Because initially when you are connecting, so frequency matching and all these things, normally right now people are facing the problems. But those things also can be easily integrated by taking all the data of system data, and also understanding that what is exactly the frequency need to be maintained, so that renewable energy input should be connected with the system. Those all are automatically it can going to happen. And congestion management, like you can see that whether your demand is very high and your supply is very low, so you are going to take the decision of disconnecting the few of the feeders, or some of the substations are low importance feeders, so that your stability can be maintained. Those things are also very easily maintained by using the congestion management. Outage awareness, like uninterrupted, unwanted tripping also we can avoid by taking the in-time decisions based on the real-time system information. And situational awareness, any unwanted situations or any emergency situation also can be monitored and take the decisions real-time, so that your further cascading problems can be avoided. These are the real benefits of wide area network. So further, what you need to do, you have to have analysis of the complete analysis or complete control of the data. Like good data collection is required to do all these things. Interconnecting wide baseline, like you have to have a very strong network to get the data from each and every substation without delay. And the GPS signals and modeling and validation of the system. So these all are very important for the analysis purpose. For communication purpose, the high-speed data is very important. Nowadays, we are moving ahead for the 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G. So I think in the future, it may not be a problem for the data transmission or high-speed data transmission. So these all are very important when it comes to the communication one. But user one is like all the dashboards, like whatever the data is collected, analysis of the data, and putting those data or information in front of you and saying that these are the problems, these are the issues, these are the decisions you need to take. So it is like a user interface or good visualization interface and training on the system. These are the very important things before you are going into the full-fledged utilization of the WAN systems. There are a few questions I will answer once I finish the initial PMU introduction. Okay, this is what the introduction of the PMU, where what is wide area network, what are the main elements in the wide area network like PMU, GPS signals, and PDC, and what are the PMU is doing, what is the PDC is doing, and what is the role of GPS signal. These all are also we'll learn it, and what exactly PMU is the role in today's world, and tomorrow are the actual final goal of this advanced network. What is exactly those functionalities? Those also we understand. So I'll take few of the questions meanwhile before I'm going into the PMU subject. Mr. Jain Mangal, is it compulsory to install PMU in each feeder emanating from a grid substation? Yeah, it is very important, because unless you don't measure each and every feeder's data, so you don't have a very good visualization on the substation. Once you have that complete data from the one substation or from the each and every substation, you will have a real data in front of you, and you can understand the macro level also where is exactly problem. So if for the initial days, what we do, we have installed one PMU per substation. So all the substation data, the accumulated data is one substation choosing one or two feeders and sending the data. So those are the very initial days. But to have real, what do you say, the analysis or real decision making, if you require, you have to collect the each and every data without missing any small portion of the data you require to do that. Otherwise, maybe you miss the actual where one feeder is contributing a lot of disturbance to your system, but you are not monitoring with the PMU. Then you cannot understand where these disturbances are coming, so that you may miss or you may misinterpret with the system. That's very important to monitor each and every feeder in the substation. There is another question is how this PMU will be connected to SAS in substation and transfer PMU data to remote PDC. Substation has gateway protocol, IEC 101 protocol. So normally PMU and SCADA is different. Like in SCADA, what we do, we collect the data through RTUs, and RTU will send the data on 101 or 104 protocol to SCADA center. But when it comes to a PMU or wide area networking, what happens? This is a separate line where you have a PMU. PMU is directly linked with your gateway, which is connected with the optical fiber. Maybe you have optical fiber MUX. These are the like fiber optic termination unit, FOTE. So all this data is connected to FOTE of your substation, the junction box of the MUX of your substation, and from there through fiber optics on C37.118. It cannot be on 104 protocol, because 104 protocol is a bit slow protocol, which is not even 101 also. Because this 101 is serial protocol, so you cannot send the data with that fast and accuracy. So this C37.118 protocol is used to send the PMU data to the PDC center. So you cannot connect with the gateway. It is a separate gateway, and you have to use the optical fiber, because this 101 is mainly used on the PLCC line. So it is very slow bandwidth wise and transmission speed wise. Understand one PMU can take more than line. Yeah. Nowadays people are like, what exactly this question is, that one PMU can take two feeders. If I understand you correctly. So that is depending on the configuration of the PMU. One PMU people are offering one PMU with two feeders monitoring, one PMU with three feeders monitoring, or one PMU with one monitor. These all are the again subject of the PMU design, how you are going to do that to reduce the cost. So that is possible. Mr. Megharaja HR, if line got tripped, whether PMU will send the signal to generation plant for increasing the power? If line got tripped, whether PMU will send signals to generation plant for increasing the power? I'm not properly understand your question, but what I understand is, if any events happens in the substation or particular to that feeder, it will send the data, that particular event data of breaker tripping and all the data to PDC. So PDC will collect the data and take the decision of whether to increase the generation, decrease the generation, which is connected to again to the generation plants. So that information or that decision will be taken by the PDC and send the signals to generation plant where another PMU is lying. So this information goes to the another PMU which is lying at the generation plant, and from that the PMU output will, there is an output DOs also there. So it will control, either it will trip the breaker, it will increase the breaker, it will control the AVR. All these things you can further configure your PMU to PMU output to your generation thing. So those all are again on the scheme, how you are designing your system, whether you are automatically design the system or you are manually. What right now what we are doing, we are taking the data and we are informing to the generation plants to reduce the power or increase the power, whatever the things which are based on the collection of the data. So I think I answered your question. How the cybersecurity aspect is addressed by PMU design, some little explanation would suffice. See, that is very important when it comes to cybersecurity. It is very important to send the data with securely and encrypted. So what happens when it comes to the PMU, we don't have that much of problem because you are connecting one end-to-end communication. Like one substation is connected and the optical fiber, mostly people are using optical fiber. Optical fiber is connected with the substation to the PDC. So one-to-one communication. There is no third party is interfering. It is only within your organization, within the loop network only data is transmitting. So when it comes to cyber attacks and cyber security, I don't think since we are not sending this data to the cloud and from there we are sending the data to PDC. Instead of that, we are one-to-one connection. So the cyber attacks and the other things are very less in this case. But anyway, the PMU have SSL certifications and you are at the PDC, and also there are many VLANs, these things, and also the firewalls. So the things are already there to prevent the unnecessary, unwanted cyber attacks from the outside world. But compared to the other open network, these are very secure network because this is the point-to-point communication. Okay, I'm going to go to the next subject. What we have PMU, which we are promoting in Indian market, like Visimax PMU. This Visimax company, we have a technical partner in India. So I'm going to explain how this Visimax and the advantage of the Visimax PMU. So I already explained what is exactly PMU, so I'm skipping here. You can see here the backside of the PMU, you have a different ports, like you have a time synchronization port, which will support the GPS signal and TTL signal. And also you can even support, it will support the serial communication of RS-232 or 485. It will support, like you want to have some data on Modbus or on 104, which is connected to other things. That is also there because it is not necessary, but we have a feature like you have a C37.118 port as well as the serial or RS-485 ports also. And you have one digital outputs. These are also 8 digital outputs, 8 digital inputs. You want to increase the digital output inputs, its option is available to increase the DI and DO. And also the CT-PT inputs, like this is the PT input, this is the CT input, and DC. DC also optional. You can choose 24 volts, 120 volts, or 240 volts. Well, based on your requirement, it will be available. Then there is a optical fiber ports where C37.118 is connected and sending these data to your PDC. And also external port or local HMI port where you can connect and see the data locally also, because when you're doing the commissioning, you want to first verify whether the PMU is giving the data out. So what you need to do, you have to locally connect with the laptop and open the PDC and check that PDC you are getting the data. Then you connect with your optical network and PDC and send the data to PDC. This is what we have. Then these all are the features PMU must have, like IEEE C37.118 compliance of 2005 and 2011. So our PMU will support both the editions, and 2014 also it will support with the new edition. And also it will support 61850 9-5 complaints. So if you want to data on 61850, you can even send the data to your SCADA center also, like what somebody is asking, that you can connect this data to your local SCADA on 61850 also. So you can send the data to PDC on C37.118. Also the same data you can send to your local SCADA on 61850. And you have this option of 48, 135, 125, 220 volts DC powering up the PMU. and 4 CT inputs. This bit is 20 bits accuracy and 4 PT inputs. So the PT accuracy is a little bit lesser, like 16 bit accuracy. The sampling rate is very highest one in the market, like 19,200 per second the sampling speed. So it's because PMU should actually samples a lot of very high frequency. It will sample the data so that at least you should not miss even the microseconds data which are actually important to the PMU or PDC analyzers. Design for this is particularly for design for the transmission and distribution. You see here that fifth point is very important, from 1 to 240 messages per second. So this is the frames per second. So how you are sending the data to the PDC is very important. Right now in India, people are mostly using the 60 frames per second, but we have option of going up to 240 frames per second. So what is exactly this advantage is tomorrow, because since we have a very less bandwidth and using the fiber optics, which is also a very congested one nowadays. So our customers are restricted to 60 frames per second, where even 60 frames per second also they are getting a lot of data to their PDC. But in future, if because in 60 per second, what happens, in between you miss some fraction of microseconds or nanosecond data, because the sample at 1 second, suppose at 1 second one sample is there, another sample is happened at 2 seconds, but 1 to 2 seconds there are samples which are missing. So that may be the wave is maybe with that fraction of second there may be a spike in the wave where we were missing that. So you can increase, but what happens when you are increasing the frames per second, your congestion, your data sending capacity or the bandwidth is very increases accordingly. So we are using only the 60 frames per second. Maybe in future you can increase 120 per seconds or 240 per seconds. But this particular PMU have the advantage of in future requirements also it suffices. Like tomorrow you don't require to change one PMU and put it for the 120 frames per second another PMU, or you discard the earlier PMU and go for the new PMU. So because others are restricted to give only the 60 frames per second, but if you have this enabled one, so tomorrow if bandwidths are high, or we go for 10G or 20G, so bandwidth is not going to be an issue, then you may require those increased frame rate. So you can easily, with the same device, you can increase the frame rates also. That's what the advantage you have. And time synchronization through GPS, you have different options like PTP or PPS signals or NTP signals also. When optional internal GPS system, like you have external GPS clock, you can connect with the PPS signal or PTP signal. Or if you don't have that, you have to only purchase one antenna. Internally, we have a one clock, GPS clock with the high nanosecond accuracy. So you can use those internal clock also. And that particular clock, maybe you can give that output to the other devices for synchronization. So that is also very useful when you are using the internal clock. Web-based configurator. So when you want to configure your PMU, it is very simple. You don't require to install any software. You can connect the PMU, and on the web-based, you can open the configurator and you can configure the things. Highly accurate and stable internal clock. This is very accurate and stable internal clock where you have a lot of advantages using the PMU. Where suppose in your substation you don't have GPS clock, and you want to install the PMU, what you need to do, PMU requires the GPS synchronization. So in that case, what you need to do, you have to purchase only antenna signal connected to the PMU, and internal PMU clock will be used, which will be synced with the GPS system. So that is easy for synchronization. And these all are, again, we are already doing. The important thing is that it supports TCP and UDP, are unicast and multicast transmission. So these all are the different various transmission things where you can use TCP. You can even switch to TCP or UDP or unicast or multicast. You can do it. And the other things we have already discussed. Okay, these all are also mostly we have done it, like IEC 61588. This is what the time synchronization complaints master clock. So NTP signal also with the BNC TTL connected, so the round wala, and IR fiber PPS input also available. So it's depending on your requirement, you can order the things. And PPS synchronization received through either from the optical fiber ST connector or electrical BLC connector. So any PPS signals, if you are giving to the PMU, if you have ST connector, you can connect it, or BNC connector also you can connect it. And optional GPS internal clock with the high precision PPS outputs. So use that internal clock and use those signals for synchronizing the other devices also. So the PMU also works as a GPS clock. So when it comes to these things, this is very important. Like total, the point number 5, total vector error, TVE is under 0.5% in steady state current. So it's very important to get it the highest accurate TVE, and supports up to 240 frames per second. This is what I have explained. And the high precision clock is less than 100 nanoseconds. This is what the clock's accuracy. And local and reports secured web-based configuration and display. So you can configure the PMU from the remotely, like from the PDC center also you can configure each and every PMU by directly accessing the web configurator, or you can locally also configure the PMU. This is what we have it. And see here, XCC 37.1181 requirement for both M class and P class accuracies. Like you have like a metering class and protection class CTs are there. So it have it supports both the CTs and both the accuracies, like P class accuracy as well as the M class accuracy. So that is what the features we are giving in the PMU. Apart from this, what we have installed in PowerGrid Kolhapur 400 substation. This is the panel where you can see here the top say 4th row. You can see that the PMU. So we have installed the lines, Narendra line 1 and Narendra line 2, and done the CT CVT connections and wirings also done. And this PMU is currently healthy and time synchronized with the GPS and reporting the data on C37.198 to the URTDCM PDC. Like GE PDC is installed, PowerGrid is installed the GE PDC at their URTDSM control center, where this PMU is directly connected with their GE PDC and giving the data to the PDC. So this is what we have done it so far, and this is what the performance from the PowerGrid, where our PMU is installed and working properly. This is, we have done it in 2019. Now it is 3 years. It's been 3 years. And also we have done the installation in JETCO. This is mainly the JETCO Ranasan 220 kV substation. These all also again same thing, where Gujarat SLDC having the PDC of GE again. So this is we have installed 2018. So it's still working and giving the good result to them. This is what the demo installation from JETCO. So apart from these, all these things, we have another model PMU called the real-time simulation model. This is mainly for the purpose of laboratory purpose or research purpose. So we have sold this PMU to the IIT, various IITs like IIT Delhi. We have sold VJTI. We have sold. So IIT, other IITs, they are using this PMU for their research purpose. What exactly the difference between this PMU and the regular PMU is? the input from the current and voltage is in the small low voltage signals, like 10 volts or 0 to 20 milliamperes, so that they can simulate from the external generators these CTPT and send the CTPT inputs to PMU, and PMU will take the low level signals and it will act as a current ampere 1, like the current and voltage, and accordingly it will give the signals to the return back to the simulator, so that they can take the data, collect the data, and put the analysis module which is developed by IITs. And those all are the particularly for the research purpose. This is what we have sold, around 7 to 8 devices for the various research and IITs and NITs. So this is what the application of this low voltage RTUs, where you have a small RTU which is taking the data from the simulators. So AC current measures 10 volts VRM inputs, and the voltage is also 10 volts voltages, and 10 digital inputs, 6 digital outputs. So this is what the PMU. So I try to put this presentation is very brief manner, and because since you are using so many, some of the customers already using that thing, so maybe they might be knowing these features, but any issues you're facing while using the PMU or PDC, you can ask me, or you can put it in chat so that I'll try to answer it. So before closing this, I'll answer one of few of the questions which are being asked by participants, like whether PMC. Okay, so again, Mr. Punuswamy, whether PMC can get instruction from the central command on only one way from PMU to PDC. No. PDC or PMU have both ways, like taking the data and sending the data to PDC, and if any decision is taken by PDC or software, it will send the control command to PMU, and PMU have the digital output. So taking the command and it will act based on the command. So that is there. So it's a two-way communication. So whether PMU is, and another question is whether the PMU is connected metering CT or protection core also. So it is again depending on, so you can have metering CT, you can have the protection CT. So that's a choice of you. Sometimes mostly people are using the metering CT, but when you connect with the protection CT, the saturation issues are there. So it is saturation, high saturation, or knee point breakdown voltage, those things issues are there. So mostly it's a choice of the customer whether you connect with the protection core or metering core. But only thing is that you have to consider the saturation point or breakdown knee voltage points, so that you don't miss when there is a fault happens and high current is flowing. So you may be at the saturation point, you may miss that fluctuations in the system. So that's again one area where you decide that whether you want to miss it or you want to okay with ignoring those samples. Yeah, and what question is asking by? So any company PMU can be connected with the different PDC? Yes. PMU is a universal device, and it is communicating on C37.118. That is also a universal protocol where PDC supports that particular communication. So if you purchase from me or purchase from some other suppliers, the PMU, those all are uniquely giving data on C37.118. It's an open protocol. So that should be supported. The PDC should support those various manufacturers PMU. So there is no issues because that's what the standardization is going on. So it's not a C37.118 is not a proprietary protocol, it's an open protocol. So everybody should follow the same C37.118 protocols. Okay, Mr. Manoj asked one question. What is the PMU phasor eliminator algorithm used? Is it DFT? Yeah, mostly DFT or Visimax. In Visimax case, they are using a patented algorithm their own way. So it's again, you have a choice of using the patented Visimax owned algorithm or the general algorithm of DFT. So you can choose it in the PMU itself. Yeah, you want to use both, it will use both parallelly, and based on the first one decision, it will give the things. Otherwise, you can even select that, okay, I want only DFT, you can use DFT. In substation, we have CT is 1 amperes and PT is 110. So what is your recommendation on CT core metering or protection? Again, that's what I'm saying. That is what you go for the metering core. But because protection core is already you are using for the protection purpose, so metering core can be an easy way to take connected to the PMU. So it's again depending on the availability of the core, because when it comes to the distributions, you have one protection core or one CT core, one metering core. So in that, what you need to do, mostly people are connecting the metering core. So that's again depending on you, how you are going to use it. Mr. Naga, any recommendation for PMU usage in voltage level? There is no recommendation, because PMU is simply collecting the data and sending to the PDC. So whether you install it 400 kV level, 800 kV level, or 33 kV level, the data, the output of the CT is 1 ampere, either in 1 ampere or 110 volts PT. So it doesn't matter to the PMU. Only thing is that you take the data and collect it, sample it, and C37.118 say it will send it to the PDC. That's what the PMU job. And if any command comes, it will execute the command through its binary outputs. So it doesn't matter whether it is a low voltage level or high voltage level. Is there any, Mr. Sanjay is asking one question. Is there any power swing blocking mode option in PMU? Actually, there is no power swing. It's not a protection device. Mostly power swing blocking and other things is a part of distance protection or differential protection. So mostly protection they take care of this particular issue. This device is mainly take the data and send to the PDC. It's like RTU or gateway, what exactly they are doing. But this device is very accurate and samples high speed sampling. It will take the data and send it to with the high speed, with the accurate time stamping to the PDC. That's what the difference only. But it won't do any protection system applications in the system. Whatever the command comes from the PDC, it will execute it. And we are the owner of consultant for many solar and wind farm IPPs, and we specify for the grid connecting lines. Okay. So Mr. Manoj is asking another question, is called Manoj. What is the TVE variation for plus or minus 2 Hz from the fundamental frequency 50 Hz? Yeah, mostly people are giving that, but we are giving even 0.5 Hz plus or minus. So that's what we have very high accuracy of TVE. Mr. Atul is asking question, how can we apply this with protection system? Yeah, actually protection system is something different, right? Like it will monitor the feeders, like every one protection device is connected with the one system, one feeder. So it will see that the feeder's healthiness, and wherever there is a problem, it will trip it. So uska job is finished. That particular relay's job is finished once it detects the fault and trip the breaker of that particular feeder. But when it comes to the PMU, what happens? It will collect the data from each and every feeder and give it to a PDC, and PDC have a bigger visualization of that particular network. So you have one substations, what are the different data is coming, one substation, what are different data is coming. Like one substation started power swing. You can visually see that power swing, how the power swing is transferred from one substation to other substations, from one line to other line, and see that whether is going to a tripping zone mein ja raha hai. These are visually you can see by collecting the data. So the operator can understand that, okay, this power swing is going into uncontrolled mode. You can take the decision and trip that particular feeder or trip complete substation. So that is what the decision making is possible. Analytically, it takes all the data and analysis and take the decision. Wherever the feeder may, it only select the fault, create the fault. Any fault happens, it will just see the fault and trip it. So whether he don't understand, if I trip it, is there any repercussions on the network? That won't see, relay won't see. But in the PMU, what it will do, if I trip it, what is the change in the network? What is the disturbance I'm going to create in the network? That also it will understand. Then based on that analysis, it will see whether I want to trip it, I want to keep and trip other feeder, or how to I manage the things. So all these are real-time decision making will happen at the PMU or wider level. That's what we have today's questions. Is there any other questions? Or we can close the session. Okay, all of you, please fill the feedback form, which is the link is given at the chat box, the top side. So you can fill the form, and please let me know if you have any questions, further question. You can mail me. I try to answer it. I'm giving my mail ID here. You can reach me on this mail ID. So this is my mail ID. So you can reach me for any questions, so I can try to answer it on PMU level. Okay, there is another final question asked by Mr. Sanjay. Do PDC make decision on itself, or the operator decides based on the PDC analysis? It's the PDC have the option of automatic and semi-automatic and manual. That's what we were discussing. So based on decision or settings, the system can also take the own decisions. Or if you are putting those system on the semi-automatic, it will tell you that, it will suggest you that these are the steps you can take it. So based on the suggestion, operator can act on that. So it's both way you can do it. So mostly people are going with the semi-automatic mode, where system will prompt you, these are the various decisions, and based on that decisions, operator will analyze those recommendations and act on his own way. So that's what right now we are doing, but it is the option is available. The system itself will even take the decisions based on the PDC data. Okay, thank you very much for your time and attending this seminar. We are on behalf of Scope, thank you very much, everybody, and good day for all. Bye-bye.